everyone. I'm Dr. Bala, an integrative doctor and women's hormonal health specialist, and I have partnered with Thinx to break down, share facts, and open up a conversation about something that's a huge part of life for a lot of us: first periods. So, we are going to talk about when to expect a period, what to expect, how to prepare, what to pay attention to, so you can be the most prepared for your teen and for yourself. So let's start with the when. The average age of menarche, or your first period, is about 12 to 13 years old. Usually this happens about 2 years after breast buds start forming. So if breast buds haven't happened yet, that first period might not be coming anytime soon. But if you have noticed breast buds and you noticed them a little bit ago, you could be expecting that period anytime in the near future. So what can you expect from that first period? Before the period starts, you might notice mood swings, breast tenderness, swelling, or you might notice some bloating or even some cramping. This can be a very common part of having periods. But as I always like to tell everybody that I work with, that doesn't mean you have to deal with these symptoms, especially if it's bothering you and interfering with your life and your daily activities. So please keep that in mind. A huge thing that I like to have parents know to convey to their teens is that periods do not have to be miserable. So if you're in the mindset of thinking that a period has to be this horrible thing that we're doomed with for the next few decades, I want you to bottle that up, throw it away, and welcome this new idea into your head that we can have easy periods. I see it happen all the time, and this is how I can say this very confidently. So now that you know what a period can be like, I do want you to know that typically in the beginning, periods can be a little bit wonky. You might see heavier bleeding for the first couple of cycles, or you might notice that they're not super predictable or on time. That's okay. It can often take a couple of cycles for our body to get into that rhythm. But if those periods are totally unpredictable after 6 months, or you're noticing that your teen has a lot of heavy bleeding or clotting, PMS, or pain, then it is worth to get those hormones checked and evaluated, especially if you feel like something's off. If your child is doubled over in pain, if they can't function, if they can't go to school, if they are missing out on events and bleeding through their clothes, that's not normal. So remember, this video is just intended to educate you. This isn't medical advice. So be sure to check in with your child's doctor if you are suspecting something is off. Okay, now that we know when and what to expect, how are we going to prepare for this first period? I want you to help your teen figure out what period products work best for them. Learn how to use them, let them try some out beforehand, and get a feel for what feels the most comfortable for your child. First periods are a huge change to get used to. I remember being so confused when I had mine about how often do I change my pad? How do I change it? Do I use a tampon? How do I change in a public bathroom? And at that time, we didn't even have all these options for period products that we have now. Now we have pads, we have tampons. These are kind of our classic time-tested options. And if you don't want to use disposable products, we also have reusable options for period products too. We have menstrual cups. These are really great at holding about 12 milliliters of blood. So for most people, this will last about 7 to 12 hours. So you don't really have to think about changing your product too often. I will say there's a little bit of a learning curve with this, so definitely try it out before that first period comes. We also have menstrual discs. So this is a good fit if you want something that's a crossover between reusable and disposable. These discs sit inside the vaginal canal, and they actually empty themselves when you sit down to pee. So you can wear it all day long, and then when you're done with it, you can reuse it up to 1 to 2 times, or you can just throw it out. And lastly, we have period underwear. These are from the Thinx's teen collection, and it literally looks and feels like underwear. They are so soft, they are so comfy, but they can hold up to 12 tampons worth of blood. So for someone who might be afraid of having to experiment with different products, this is a great starting point because it's something they're already familiar and you probably use every day. So I just want you to find what works best for that child before their first period so that when it starts, all of you are ready. So now that you're prepared for that first period, here's what you want to be looking for in the following cycles and periods. I want you to teach your teen to know how many days they bleed, and if they use a cup, a disc, a pad, or a tampon, how often they're getting them filled or how often they're changing them. And I want you to teach them to track the first day of every period. because all of this information is going to give us so much valuable insight about our hormones and our cycles so that if something is off, we know exactly where to look. All right. I hope you and your teen feel prepared for that first period and what to look for and all the fun things that can come with having a period.